Welcome back to Island Life Live. Kalo, the root vegetable, is a staple in Hawaii. It has been a source for food, medicine, and clothing for generations.
And on January 1st, Kalo was adopted, established, and designated as the official plant of Hawaii. Here representing an organization advocating for this distinction for decades is the president of the Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs, Dre Kalili. Hi, my sister.
Hi.
Happy Aloha Friday. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for coming back.
Yes.
Yeah, happy to be here.
And this kulani, Dre. Now, sis, what was the Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs' role in making this come to fruition?
Sure. So I think to answer this question, we've got to jump in the time machine a little bit because this law passed in 2007, so 18 years ago. And so back then, the Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs was very concerned about the protection of kalo, especially at the time. There's a lot of discussion on bioprospecting and genetically modified organisms and genetic modification of kalo. And so as we were advocating, at the time, there was legislation about a moratorium on GMOs and kalo. And so as we're advocating for that, we are a statewide organization and we bring issues up and we go to the legislature and we advocate. And so while we were, talking about protecting kalo, we're like, how's about, we saw this bill about making it the state plant. And if we elevated that and we, designated it and we acknowledged the cultural significance and the historic significance of kalo,
then nobody will touch it.
Right. That's exactly what we were thinking. Oh. And so the association got on board. And if you look at the legislative history, it was Hawaiian Civic Club of Hilo, Hawaiian Civic Club of Honolulu, Pearl Harbor Hawaiian Civic Club. So the civic clubs all kind of came together and advocated and submitted legislation every single hearing. And we're successful because the bill passed in 2007, but the effective date wasn't until January 1st, 2025.
Why is that? How come it took so long?
Good question. So in the legislature, they do this thing where they'll put a date far out into the future, and it kind of forces more discussion in future hearings about, just to bring attention to the bill. And so that happened, and then we take responsibility too because we never catch it. Mm-hmm. And the bill passed and it was signed by the governor. And even when the governor signed it, was Governor Lingo at the time, she said, okay, look, I see that the date is until 2025. I'm going to sign it anyway because these organizations came together to advocate. But, and we didn't go back the next year to correct it. So here we are, 18 years later, we have this designation, we have the state plant. But to really understand the context, why it was so important to us, we got to think about what was happening in 2006 and 2007.
Wow, it's so deep.
That's so crazy. Sister.
I'm just like we had to wait patiently. I mean, of course.
Like you literally waited for a teenager. A child now kind of graduating from high school. Even happened in that time.
I mean, the Shakawin beat the Kalo as the official plant of Hawaii. This is amazing. Yeah. So, I know we talked about, go ahead, Kulani, sorry.
No, I was just wondering, you kind of already answered this, but how does this raise the awareness of kalo?
So I think back then, right, in this advocacy we were at 18 years ago, we thought if it was the state plant, it kind of has like this designation and this elevation and a different kind of status. So maybe people who were thinking about, okay, maybe we can genetically modify or we can do stuff to kalo, maybe they wouldn't do it just because it had a designation or just kind of was elevated in the minds of people. And so that's what we're advocating for. But if you ask us, okay, what are you advocating for in 2025? It's so many other different issues have come up in these past 18 years. Exactly.
That's right.
So what's next for you folks?
Good question. So we had our annual convention in November and we brought up issues, of course, Lahaina and the restoration and rebuilding of Lahaina, but in a way that is sensitive to our community, especially the Native Hawaiian community that lives in Lahaina. That's very important to us. Housing is always important to us. Mm-hmm. And then also the military land leases that are coming due in the next couple of years. Very important. Well, you guys have a whole lot of work, and thank you for representing us as Kanaka and our Lahui, and we appreciate you coming in. Dre Kalili is the president of the Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs.
Sister, you're always welcome to come back and update us on those issues as you folks are working.
And we'll probably be back in March because Prince Kuhio Parade is coming up, and that's a big thing that our civic clubs do.
Just moving over into a holiday. Thanks, Dre.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. Before we do that, once again, today is National Drinking Straw Day. So here's our Yuso Akamai question about how many drinking straws do Americans use per day? Is it 1 million, 5 million, 100 million, or 500 million? The answer coming up on the other side of the break, along with You Gotta Hear This.